Take one. G'day folks, I'm Mick from Ironman. Cut! Hey folks, Mick from Ironman 4x4 Africa. Welcome to another Moment with Mick video. We're answering some readers' questions, and this next question is one I get asked very often, and it's a question for which the information is very difficult to get hold of, and there's a lot of misconception around. So I'm going to try and cover as much as possible and as accurately as I possibly can, bearing in mind that I've also had to do a lot of digging after the information. So the question is, I recently purchased a roof rack and it has a load rating of 180 kilograms. I have since found out that the roof load rating of my vehicle is only 85 kilograms. What gives? So yes, that is the question that we get asked quite often, and let me explain it as follows. So there's a couple of types of weights, different weights when it comes to roof racks and vehicle roofs and canopy roofs. And I guess the most important weight would be the dynamic load rating of a vehicle's roof. And what is meant by that is whatever you put on the roof of the vehicle, the roof rack, and whatever you put on top of the roof rack, and you travel down a road, a tar road, on a highway or a back road or whatever, the maximum weight that that vehicle's roof can carry in total, including the weight of the roof rack. That is the dynamic load rating of the roof. The next load rating which is of importance is what we call the static load rating, and that is the load rating that you can put onto the roof of the vehicle and not move the vehicle around, not drive it around. Okay, so that is the static load rating, and it kind of makes sense that the static load rating is higher than the dynamic load rating. And some vehicle manufacturers also specify that the dynamic load rating of the roof of the vehicle would have to be decreased by at least a third if this vehicle does any type of overlanding or dirt road or rough road traveling. Okay, which also makes sense because the vehicle's bouncing around, the suspension is working, and that load on the roof is trying to move up and down, putting more stress on the roof of the vehicle. So you have dynamic, which could be on-road and off-road, and then you have static. And the static load rating is, depending on who you ask, could be 2 to 3 times what the dynamic load rating of the roof is. And let me explain how that works in layman's terms. If you have a Toyota Hilux and you have a rooftop tent, you can put a roof rack on the roof of the Hilux, you can load your rooftop tent. As long as you stay within the dynamic load rating of the roof of that vehicle, you're okay. But once you get to camp and you park the vehicle, you open the tent, and you and your partner get up there for the evening with your drinks bottles and your sleeping bags and your pillows and stuff, you're adding a lot more load. And as long as you then stay within the static load rating of the vehicle's roof, you'll be fine. So that's why you have a dynamic and a static, and that is why the roof rack does have a load rating itself. So that roof rack is good for 180 kgs. So that would be similar to the vehicle's static load rating, whereas the actual dynamic load rating is when the vehicle's driving and with the gear that you've got on the roof. Now, I also had a look at seeing if I couldn't find some figures to quote you, and truth be known, it's one of the hardest things you can imagine to try and find on the internet. I went onto vehicle manufacturers' websites, we found some dealerships, looked in the brochures, in the specs on the websites, nothing, nada, not a mention of it anywhere. I referred to find some information, I referred to a YouTuber which I like watching out of Australia. Please check him out. His name is Ronnie Dahl. He's a real get out there and do it type of guy. And I remember seeing a video of his some time ago on this subject. I went and looked for it again. I found it, watched it again, and what he said is exactly what I'm saying to you now about the static and the dynamic load rating. But he also took it a lot further. He had a team of guys that found some pertinent information. So just for interest's sake, if you're looking at dual cab pickups, they typically Ford Ranger, Toyota Hilux, Mazda Ford Ranger, Mitsubishi Triton, Isuzu D-Max, current model Nissan Navara, they're all between 75 and 85 kgs. That's the dynamic load rating on the roof. The dynamic off-road rating would be a third less than that, okay, so you can do the math. The static load rating nobody has any idea. And according to Ronnie, and I'm inclined to agree with him, you can probably work on 2.5 times what the dynamic load rating is. So, typically on a Hilux, 75 kgs, the static becomes 150 kgs. So that's the roof rack, the rooftop tent, you and your partner, and whatever else you want to take up there. Now, bear in mind with all of these weights that the actual roof rack is a portion of that allowable weight. And roof racks, I went onto the Frontrunner website, and I had a look at the weight of roof racks for double cab pickups, and they're anywhere between 25 and 30 kilograms. So, let's take a Hilux, for example. 75 kgs you can put up there. 30 kgs of that or 32 kgs is going to be the roof rack. So you're left with, 30 something, 40 kgs of gear that you can put up there, which is not a hell of a lot. Okay, looking at wagons, Grenadier 150 kgs, Land Cruiser 76 150, Land Cruiser 200 series 150, but Land Cruiser 300 series only 92. Very interesting. Old Land Rover Defender 150, new Land Rover Defender only 80. 80 doesn't seem like much when the Frontrunner roof rack already weighs 44. That leaves you 36 kgs for whatever you want to put up there. It's not very much. Prado, old Prado 150, newer Prado 100. So it's interesting that the newer vehicles have less of a load rating than the older models. And last but not least is one of my favorite four-wheel drives. I took one up to the north of Zambia. Look for that video on our channel. What a phenomenal time I had. Little Jimny, 2-door and 4-door. Now, I couldn't find with certainty what that dynamic load rating of the roof was. It's anywhere between 30 and 40 kgs. The Frontrunner roof rack on the 5-door model is 38 kgs, so the roof rack is too heavy for the roof. I don't quite know how that works. I may be wrong on the 30 to 40 kgs. As I said, I couldn't find it, but very, very interesting. So to answer the question, the reason the roof rack has got 180 kgs load rating is because the static load rating of the roof will be around about that. And once you're at camp and you're not driving, you can put more on the roof than you can when the vehicle is driving. I hope that's answered your question, folks. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe our channel. If you have any questions or any comments, pop them down below the videos, and we'll endeavor to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Until next time, stay safe.